Good evening, Mr. Chairman.
Welcome.
It's great to be here, and I truly appreciate the courtesy, particularly not just for me, but to let us testify as a family. It's our first time testifying together, so we're a little bit nervous, but I think that we're going to pull through.
I think the baby's not nervous at all. She's reaching for the microphone. Yeah. Good thing you're term limited. She'd take you out.
He would.
Oh, he would. I'm sorry.
he would indeed. So, but I want to underscore how much I appreciate the courtesy. Thank you so much, Chairman, and I want to thank everybody here on this panel for thoughtfully considering this very important question to our community, to our state, and to our entire society, because this is a weighty issue that's being debated throughout the country at this time. And so I'll keep my remarks pretty short, and I'll try to cut to the chase. You know, certainly there are many of us who believe that this is simply a matter of a woman's right to choose, a woman's right to choose what happens with her body over her body. I certainly believe that, and I strongly, strongly urge everyone on this committee to support this bill and to support this cause for those reasons. However, I understand that regardless of how much we talk, how much we go back and forth and engage in genuine discussion back and forth, there are people who simply view this issue differently. And I respect that different perspective and that different thoughts on this. And so there are 2 points that I want to raise first and foremost. First of all, speaking on behalf of my community here in Providence, you know, we have in so many ways the haves and have-nots in our city. City of Providence consistently ranks in the top 5 cities in the country on income inequality. And so we have folks who are moving ahead, and we have folks who are being left behind. And when it comes to the issue of abortion and access to planning your family, there are also people who are left behind. And what does it mean for the most vulnerable here in Providence if they don't have access to this kind of service? The reality is that abortions will not stop. Instead, what you'll have is resorting to the very harrowing practices of using coat hangers and other very unsafe, unhealthy methods to terminate pregnancies. Also, in our community, we know from an economic perspective that if you have a child before you have a committed relationship, before you're married, or before you have someone a partner that you're going to spend the rest of your life with, this sets you back in terms of economic terms in ways that it's so difficult to ever catch up. And so I ask you to consider this when we look to legislate on behalf of the most vulnerable. This is certainly an issue that affects our most vulnerable women. And for folks who see this as perhaps from a religious lens, folks who see this as a practice that should not exist because it's damaging to the child, I ask you to consider this perspective. Just as we in our country enshrine the freedom of speech in our First Amendment, which we all hold as perhaps the most dear and cherished value in our society, we protect speech that we would never engage in. And so if you are one of those people that would never engage in an abortion because you think that it's simply morally wrong, I leave that to you and your conscience to decide, and I don't pass judgment. However, we're not talking about a personal decision for the decision makers in this room. We're talking about policy that applies to every resident in the state of Rhode Island. And this is a matter of what is right for that person and what is right for our community. You know, it's symbolic that first time we're testifying, I'm here with my little guy. This guy has changed my life in so many ways that I can't even say. I think only other parents in this room know exactly what I mean and what I'm talking about. And my life is so enriched because of this little guy. And so I don't diminish the value of bringing these incredible human beings into this world. But it's something that has to be balanced with a woman's right to choose. Who are we to tell a woman that she has to take this on at a time when it might not be right for her, in circumstances that perhaps she did not choose, perhaps even in circumstances that were forced upon her against her will. This is a matter of public policy, and even if you disagree with the practice, as a matter of your convictions, I still ask you to support this as a matter of what's right for our community. So thank you so much, Chairman. I appreciate your consideration, and I'll hand it off to my fiancée, Stephanie.